got kicked off Dancing with the Stars?
Huh?
Who got kicked off Dancing with the Stars?
The Playboy Bunny.
Oh, she did,
Yeah.
of course. So that leaves then.
Next week, I don't know who it'll be. And they're all good now.
Yeah, but not Christy Alley.
Oh, yeah, she'd probably be next. I would say.
You napkin?
Huh?
Napkin?
No, I'm okay. I've got napkins right down here. Her facsimile there. Here.
That's okay, Mom.
Well, here's
I'll take that one.
Here's another one. Just like.
No, I'm going to get one. That's all right. Those are your personal napkins. You have those.
Increased tear production, which may be reduced by inflammation due to chronic dry eye. Restasis does not increase tear production in patients using anti-inflammatory eye drops or tear duct plugs. If you make more of your own tears, you may need those other drops less. Restasis should not be used by patients with active eye infections and has not been studied in patients with a history of herpes viral infections of the eye.
Here's something?
A common side effect is a temporary burning.
Oh, I was saying about the. You can buy dishes and stuff made everywhere. Where'd you go?
It's not usually made in Italy. I'm just saying that this style made in Italy.
That was a long time ago that they got those.
Minnesota told a state house committee God gave marriage as a gift to Adam and Eve. His party outnumbered 7-10 on the House committee that passed the bill. Democrat Steve
I just know that
gave an eloquent
little John's girlfriend told Sandy that the dishes I sent them for Christmas was exactly what she would buy for herself.
Oh, good.
We have to be careful about trying to enshrine our beliefs.
I thought it was.
Believe that them to be in the Minnesota Constitution.
What did you tell me? You said something about she.
For change.
I said something about eating up there, and you said, "Oh, you know, she don't usually cook much." I go, "That sounds hard to believe." And I asked Johnny, and she said the same thing. She said they rarely can eat together.
Says she doesn't eat anything except.
Yeah, she's a vegan or something.
Yeah.
Or is this something that you're born with? Is this just another lifestyle choice, like skateboarding or gardening? Or is this something
can't be too easy to go out for dinner or anything. I don't know what they.
Last Friday in the Senate testimony, there was a member that
sushi.
Huh?
Sushi, I think.
What do they take on a picnic?
Sexual orientation are a gift from God.
Does she go on a picnic or camping or anything? I don't know.
Sexuality and sexual orientation are innate and something that people are born with. And I would ask everyone on this committee, not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not even this year, but at a moment when you can be alone with your own thoughts, to ask yourself, if that's true, if it's even possibly true, what does that mean to the moral force of your argument? Just ask yourself, not now in the glare of the Capitol or in caucuses and interest groups, but ask yourself if it's true that sexual orientation is innate, God-given, and what does it mean to the moral force of your argument? And I guess to put it in the vernacular...
Is this the guy conservative of the state? Now, let's not rush before we judge Newt Gingrich. Guy, let's go practice one.
Yeah, go ahead.
And let's give applause to yourself. How many gay people does God have to create before we ask ourselves whether the living of their lives the way they wish, as long as they don't harm others, is a godly and holy and happy and glorious thing? I've answered that for myself. I don't think everyone's answered that for themselves necessarily in this room. But I'm comfortable with a society and a tradition that bends towards justice.
What's this?
And fairness and wholeness and openness and compassion. And I do think, as others have said before me more eloquently, that that's where the arc of history is bending as well. And I truly believe that in a generation, maybe not even a generation, but certainly many generations from now, if we pass this, if we put it on the ballot, if this becomes part of our Constitution, history will judge us all very, very harshly. And I think that the people who vote for this today and in the future will, although their children and grandchildren can and should be very proud of them for their service to the state of Minnesota, will on this issue not be so proud. And there may even be some justifiable shame there as well. And I think that's something that we all have to think about and justify in our own consciousness. So I strongly urge a no vote. In 2011, AT&T set to work building up our wireless network all across America. We're adding new cell sites, increasing network capacity, and investing billions of dollars to improve your wireless network experience. From a single phone call to the most advanced data download, we're covering more people in more places than ever before and never seen these advanced network possible. AT&T, rethink possible. Doctors have been saying it forever. Let's take a look. But they've never actually been able to do it like this.
Let's take a look.
Scan from GE Healthcare, a pocket-sized imaging device that will help change the way doctors see patients. That's better health for more people. I've got to stop just imagining retirement, start finding real ways to get there.
I've got investments all over, but I have no idea what it all adds up to.
I know I should, but who's got time to roll over a 401k? From a dedicated specialist to handle your 401k rollover to a personalized one-on-one consultation all about making your retirement real. Schwab has the practical help you need to get your retirement act together. And it's all just part of being a Schwab client. Open an account today and talk to Chuck about rolling over that old 401k. Desperate for nighttime heartburn relief? For many, Nexium helps relieve heartburn symptoms caused by acid reflux disease. Talk to your doctor about your risk for osteoporosis-related bone fractures if you take multiple daily doses of Nexium for a long time. Possible side effects include headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. Other serious stomach conditions may still exist.
Save up to $500 on selected mattress sets. Even get 3 years interest-free financing on Tempur-Pedic. Don't miss Sleep Train's Mattress Price Wars. Sleep Train, sleep to a better night's sleep.
Before Allegra, my argument is baby drowsy. After Allegra, I'm up and alert.
Before Allegra, I had to wait my
You gotta be kidding me. This guy's making petroglyphs in people's garages.
He's what?
Making petroglyphs in people's garages.
With the power to relieve your toughest symptoms. Effective even at 8 times by follow-up.
What's that?
You know, cave drawings?
Oh,
He's doing them on rocks in people's garages. The little sailboats and the BART train. 46. Oh boy. Well, that's a job.
The Rachel Maddow Show.
that's what is life's work. Drawing pictures in garages.
For Osama bin Laden jokes? The late night comedians don't think so. Here's the week in comedy. All we knew was the president was going to tell us something about national security. It's like when your mom leaves you that super early morning voicemail consisting of Etienne Laza calling me. And that's it. And you don't know, is it malignant or did the neighbor's kid get into Brown? As you all know, something hugely important and gravely serious happened last night. That's right. The last 16 minutes of Celebrity Apprentice were interrupted by the President of A. The president is interrupting Celebrity Apprentice to deliver more jokes. The ones that he had not quite finished about Donald Trump. Or B, the more likely scenario, as Hollywood has taught us, when a black president interrupts your show, a meteor is headed towards the Earth. The fact is, the president clearly coordinated a secret CIA mission, assassination, and ensuing press conference specifically to cut off the end of my show, The Celebrity Apprentice. So, basically, I killed Osama bin Laden. Congratulations to me, Donald Trump. Thank you. You're welcome. President Bush promised we'd track him down. President
job, and no one was happier than this guy. Is he finished? No, he isn't. He was also celebrating the release of Season 3 of The Dukes of Hazzard on Blu-ray.
After a ferocious 40-minute firefight involving a lot of pissing, a garden hose, and a rake, my staff killed Ardell the Gopher and took custody of his body. They got Bin Laden? Well, that's two good things. There also is a taco bar. There's a taco bar here? Three good things. The huge news, you guys. President Obama said he will not release the photo.
I don't understand this. This town wanted to have a pot farm to grow medical marijuana, and the federal authorities shut them right down.
Because, it's against the federal law.
Okay, but medical marijuana dispensaries are flourishing and going like gangbusters.
In California.
In California. This is in California.
California allows it, but federal law does not. They tell you right away.
Well, I'm saying, though, this would seem like be a legitimate operation that you could be, you know, where that you could oversee it.
No, there is no legitimate pot growing under federal law.
But I think that you can't be growing this much pot under the radar, can you? I mean, where do the pot goes marijuana from?
If the state just turns their back.
And the feds do too, apparently. It just seems like they would want sanctioned growers, is what I'm saying. Since they've legalized it for medical usage, why don't you have sanctioned medical growers?
Only in the state of California.
In the state of California.
Looks like to run for president now against Barack Obama.
Senator, are you suggesting that heroin and prostitution or...
Those pot clubs, as far as I'm concerned, they're just a bunch of young people laying around and they'll all look like hippies that crawled all together.
Yeah.
I mean, if there's a sick one in the bunch, it'd be a miracle. The only thing they're sick is in their head. They're so pot-headed, they don't know whether they're coming or going. Every time they show a picture of them, they're all just...
You know, the last time there was a wide open race for the
Well, I'm sure they show the cream of the crop, too. But it keeps them off prescription medication, and that's what it's for, right?
Mitt Romney, Ron Paul, Rudy Giuliani.
They were probably never on any medication, never needed any.
For their first debate. 4 years later,
They just got these bunch of doctors that sign these things.
Yeah, true. That's what I mean. You're just in sprays.
If you go and you want it, the medical marijuana place will tell you what doctor to go to get it.
Oh yeah, I'll show you the ads. But it's hilarious. But it just seems to me like they went to this trouble to legalize it, and they're allowing it to go on. Why don't they have it a little more regulated? I think that the state must be benefiting from the freewheeling nature of it.
Hey, the state doesn't have the manpower to oversee all that stuff.
I want a word or phrase to describe Herman Cain. The answer to the question most direct.
Are they collecting taxes?
Common sense.
How many of you walk in here?
I don't think so.
Cain is your number one choice. Raise your hands.
I'm sure that no, if it's medical, they can't. You don't pay taxes on prescription.
Herman Cain, former CEO of a mafia-themed pizza chain called Godfather's Pizza, runs away with the first Republican debate of this election season.
I'm proud of the fact, quite frankly, that I haven't held public office before. Because I ask people, most of the people that are in elected office in Washington, D.C., they have held public office before. How's that working for you? We have a man. How about sending a problem solver to the White House?
Herman Cain, the breakout sensation last night in South Carolina. While the mafia-themed pizza mogul won the focus group last night, it is Ron Paul who seems to have won the money race in the 24 hours since last night's debate. Dr. Paul's website showing right now that he has taken in over $1 million in donations since last night's debate. There's also news today that Congressman Paul will open officially a campaign
Are you running for president?
in Iowa.
Again, but he'll drop out. That's just a joke.
He'll get a lot of votes, though.
essentially...
He won't even get to the election. He'll drop out.
...is the only conceivably viable candidate among the five on stage.
I think he'll get a lot of votes this time. I think he'll get a lot of votes this time.
Fox News focus group.
In the primary, but he'll never make it to the general election.
We had a clear winner in Herman Cain. Let's find out who they thought came in second.
He probably won't be on the ballot in the
So the
primary.
Republicans already had a debate?
Just the other night. Stainer was spotted having dinner in a steakhouse. He said, oh, he'd see it some other time.
Yeah, he did. Not
That
this week.
shows how interested he was in their future candidates.
Well, were they all there even? Was Romney there?
No.
Gingrich?
The only ones that went were Pawlenty, the one we just saw that's raised $1 million.
Ron Paul?
And then that black guy that was talking, him. I don't know who he is, but it was him. And,
what is starting to seem like the divided heart of the
who else
Republican
was
Party.
there?
Huge cheers when Ron Paul was asked about gay marriage, and he said he doesn't want government involved in marriage at all. It's a private matter or a religious matter. It's not for government. Big cheers when he said that. But also big cheers for Rick Santorum, saying anyone who would rule social issues out of what government ought to be doing just doesn't understand America. Big cheers for that, too. So which is it, Republican Party? Fielding a candidate against Barack Obama? Are you big, intrusive government Rick Santorum Republicans? Or are you small government Ron Paul Republicans? All of the Republican Party branding right now is very Ron Paul. Even if the Republican establishment itself, they want to sit down and be principled. Limited government, personal freedom, get government off your back, right? That's how the Republican Party is trying to market itself right now. But look at what they are actually doing.
That wasn't bad, was it?
Take just the state of
No, that sausage is good.
as an example. The new
Spicy.
Republican governor in
It's
Florida,
hot,
Scott,
yeah.
is
Yeah.
expected today to sign into law a handful of bills that right now are sitting on his desk.
And I never put a bit of spices of any kind. I just put my canned tomatoes and my
The first one is a
jar of,
bill that says any woman who wants to have an abortion will be forced by the state of Florida to have a medically unnecessary ultrasound first. It would also force doctors to read to the woman being forced to undergo the medically unnecessary procedure a script about that procedure written by the Florida legislature, no matter what the doctor actually believes. A second bill, a bill that requires mandatory drug tests for a whole class of Florida residents, whether or not they are suspected of using drugs. Anybody seeking temporary state aid, even if that person has no history of drug problems, will now be forcibly drug tested by the state, and they will be forced to pay for it. Third bill, a bill that punishes school children for wearing their pants lower than the government wants them to. It regulates public school pants height. A state government-imposed dress code for all children.
Did you hear about Heinz Ward with the woman and got pulled over? What a ding-bad lady that one was.
yeah. Oh, some fools he picked up somewhere.
Found it later but failed to cancel the police report.
First off, she was nuts. She lost her car.
The man advocating for it
The second part, she was extra nuts because she didn't cancel the police report.
Government mandated medically unnecessary ultrasounds. Government mandated dress codes. The heart of the Republican Party is so divided right now that they cannot decide whether to cheer for legal hard drugs or laws about the height of your pants. This is going to be an excellent year of covering Republican politics.
By 2020, 50 billion network devices will roam the earth. That's 7 devices per person. This will change how we work in ways never before imagined. What do you need to secure your people, their devices, and your business? A network that can evolve and grow to protect your human network. Never fear, new frontiers. See why at Cisco.com. Cisco.
Didn't we have some Jello pudding? Dad, did you eat my Jello pudding?
No.
Pudding face.
No,
Look at his smile.
I'm happy.
Only pudding gives you
How do they do that?
They superimpose mouth onto his face.
Yeah.
It's creepy. And it's larger than his face is. You know? Yeah. It's really easy the stuff that they do now. That's what I don't understand either. Because with the way, so that's what's confusing about the Osama bin Laden thing, because they could so easily fake anything now.
Yeah.
That I don't know why they tell this big story about the fire shootout in the first place. I don't know. I think he.
Oh, well, who put out that stuff?
The White House. I watched the.
Well, it showed them sitting there watching it at the present time. In present time.
Apparently, yeah. You think the guys would have cameras on their.
And
yeah, I know.
She had her hand over her mouth.
Well, apparently. I think he was dead.
Huh?
I think he was dead. He died. I think he died, and they went in there and they just put on this little show. I think the Bushes probably had dinner there a few months prior. I mean, he was obviously not worried about anyone attacking him. They were living comfortably and had been. So I think the Bushes told him, "Hey, don't have anything to worry about."
I don't think he was dead. But I don't care. You know, I was never that big go get Bin Laden thing.
Well, I mean, it is Friday.
The fact that they shot down that place was an accident. That they managed to get those planes into the Twin Towers.
Well, they should have just had the cockpit doors locked.
No, but that was a total accident. That they even were able to aim those planes and hit the building.
That's pretty good.
I mean, neither one of them were real pilots, and here they were flying.
Well, they had trained down in Florida.
Yeah,
I mean,
they trained on little.
Bin Laden may have sent them, but a year. They've been here for a year. They trained in this Florida flight school in Arizona.
And then they trained in California.
In California,
but they trained on little planes. I mean, and then they get behind a jumbo jet, and they managed to fly it. Hey, it was a fluke. I mean, the one plane crashed. That's what you would have expected to happen to all three of them.
Well, wait.
The one plane crashed in Pennsylvania.
They shot it down.
Huh?
They shot it down.
I thought it just plain crashed.
Well, that's what they said, but it was shot down.
Well, the people on board the plane never on their cell phones never said they were being fired on or anything.
No, they're not even going to know. I'm pretty sure that it was shot down. I mean, they gave the fire order to shoot it down, and it was been up there for a while. That's especially what they do. Well, the Pentagon one. So they made three, but why did they just have if they had the cockpit doors locked, that would never have happened. There would have been a little melee in the back of the bus, and that would have been it. They just had, knives. It surprised me after all those hijackings that happened in the 70s.
That they
wouldn't pass a policy that just says you never unlock the cockpit doors.
And another thing, the hijackings in the 70s involved guns.
Yeah.
That's when they stopped taking guns on.
But why did they have a policy? You do not unlock the cockpit door.
I don't know.
It just does.
It was a fluke, and I don't know why they, made such a big thing of it. Well, I mean, it was a terrible thing that happened.
Yeah, I mean...
But it was an accident. You couldn't have expected it was going to ever work with those two nuts. That group of nuts that didn't even have the experience flying a big plane. That they'd ever managed to run them right into
not these two guys in particular, but they've had taken hijacked planes before. There has been a few hijackings where they usually crash them right into the ground.
With them on them.
Well, where they say Ali Akbar at the end in the plane, that's the last words you hear on the voice recorder.
Okay, they didn't hit anything. It showed you that they were capable of really doing anything with them.
Yeah.
This was a fluke. They'd flown little planes, and they figured out how to steer it to get it where they wanted. Now the guy was in Pennsylvania, he didn't know. Once he got up there in the air, he could not handle the plane.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too. I mean, it took them so long to scramble. It was an hour before they announced that the planes had been hijacked, before they even had before it hit the tower. Now that just seems like almost an hour. You think that something would have gotten up in the air and it intercepted these things before then?
Well, they came from Boston.
We didn't have any planes to scramble. They said they were on training up in the north.
Yeah,
It was strange.
Back, just scratching their tails.
But the thing is, all this stuff at the airport and all these code orange, all you had to do is, it'll never happen again if you just lock the cockpit doors. Simple as that. Let the guy bring on a bottle of kerosene. He's going to set himself on fire, but as long as that cockpit door is locked, the pilot's going to be able to fly.
And he's not going to be able to direct where the plane falls.
No. It seems real simple.
Look at Megan McCain.
I mean, when Clinton first got in office, they blew up the World Trade Center. They drove a van into the basement of the World Trade Center.
But they didn't blow it up.
Well, they killed people. They blew it up. I mean, 15 people died.
They went down in the basement.
They're lucky the thing didn't fall. I mean, it was a big explosion, Mom. But we didn't.
Yeah,
but you don't think of it as a big thing because they didn't make a big deal of it at the time.
Oh, they made a big deal.
Well, they rounded up the people, but I'm saying we didn't go on for years. Don't forget.
Yeah, but they arrested the people and put them on trial, and that's all settled already.
Yeah.
I mean, they couldn't find him, so they... And then he also threw in the smoke screen of Saddam Hussein. We had to go to war over there. And then he gets on television and says he's not concerned about what's his name anymore.
He's been marginalized.
Well, do you want a piece of pie?
Yeah. I want a piece of pie. The sausage made me so hot.
Huh?
The sausage made me so hot.
My father's well-known politician, it makes me feel safer. I have friends, it makes them feel safer. So, do you think there's a risk to having a gun in your home? Not if you take courses and...
I thought you bought a chocolate one, but you didn't.
No, I'm getting that Boston cream pie.
Huh?
They had 3 little special ones hidden in that little section right there.
What?
I think
No, they had them over there right next to the strawberry ones in the bakery.
They did?
If you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. You can't have anything. They can't
even know